Okay, let us turn our attention now to the coronavirus pandemic. The focus very much back on China, the country where the virus was first detected. As I was mentioning, there has been an outburst or a spike in confirmed cases in the capital, Beijing. And this is after nearly 2 months without a single case. So you can imagine how people there are feeling. There were a handful of locally transmitted cases at the end of the last week. Then today, just as we were coming on air, the World Health Organization, they say more than 100 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Let me bring in Kerry Allen, our China media analyst with BBC Monitoring. So taking a look at all the media there. Great to have you with us, Kerry. So what do you know about these cases in Beijing?
That they are increasing very, very quickly, and they all started. Media have been saying they've been linked to one particular market, the Xinfadi market, and I remember going back to Friday, there was this one particular case, this one middle-aged man, and his close contacts, he'd only been in contact with 2 people, but one of these people that he'd been in contact with was a teacher at a school, and so the school quickly closed. And then over the weekend, suddenly there were China's been basically trying to keep the numbers in the single digits in terms of new cases, and it was clear that this was rising very, very quickly. A lot of new cases, and China only tracks cases where there are symptoms, so people who have a fever or a cough. So it was recognizing that there were a lot of people who were actually exhibiting symptoms very, very quickly. And so what they actually did over the weekend was they set up testing sites, more than 100 of them across the city, and they just started mass testing people. In fact, they tested as many as 76,000 people.
Wow. What do we know, though, about this market that they talk about? How would it have sprung up again there?
Well, a lot of what I've been seeing today has been saying that there wasn't a lot of hygiene, there wasn't a lot of restriction in place in terms of kind of ensuring social distancing and people wearing masks, for example. People's Daily, one of the main newspapers in China, has been saying that people relax their vigilance. And at markets anyway, you've got people paying in cash, whereas we've been seeing all around the world that people have been urged to pay in by card so that they avoid kind of exchanging, with their hands. People not wearing masks at this market. So it's thought that, they said that more than 20,000 people could visit this market within, I think it was about a week or so, but basically it's a popular market and it can mean a lot of people all in one place. So that's where they're thinking that it could have just been one person, but just because there were so many people around, there were the potential for other contacts to come into place because people weren't wearing masks and they weren't wearing gloves and keeping distance from each other.
Yeah, and of course they, cracked down when they did. People have gone through the lockdown, the quarantines, all of that. So I'm wondering what you're hearing kind of in the reporting or what's online. To me, it sounds incredibly depressing to have these cases, but I'm curious what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's quite worrying. I've seen, normally in China, you'll see an emphasis on the positives, that the authorities are doing a lot. The healthcare workers are working extremely hard, and this will be under control. But I'm seeing today the National Health Commission is saying that this situation in Beijing is grim with uncertainties because it's no longer just in Beijing. There have been confirmed cases in nearby Hebei province. Also, there are some suspected cases in Sichuan, which is thousands of miles away. And they're saying that these are linked to one of these Beijing cases. And I'm getting the sense that it's just not all that it seems, that there may have been, it maybe not particularly linked to this market, but maybe more cases than they actually realised. China does identify anyway that one of the big problems with this virus is that people can be asymptomatic. They can have the virus but not show symptoms. And they saw this in Jinan province, Jilin province, up in the northeast. So they recognise they can't test everybody. They've got a population of 1.4 billion people. So it's a question then of how they try and bring this under control once there are these new cases. And that's difficult when you've got a city like Beijing, which has got millions of people.
Kerry Allen, thanks so much. We shall keep an eye on it and keep in touch with you as we continue to follow that particular story.